Overdrive today, we check out how fuel efficient the all-new Toyota Hyryder hybrid actually is, get you an exclusive drive of the upcoming Hyundai Creta, bring you a closer look at Ferrari's first hybrid V6 road car, and celebrate the winners of Mercedes-Benz's Frame the Star contest. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. We finally got behind the wheels of the 2022 Toyota Hyryder to find out whether the hybrid tech is the way to go forward in this popular SUV body style to bring high efficiency to the masses.
With the price of fuel going through the roof, everyone's looking past petrol, diesel to hybrid, and this is the first mass market SUV hybrid that we have in India. And it promises quite a bit. We're going to see if it can deliver. First off, Urban Cruiser Hyryder is a mouthful, so let's all agree on just Hyryder. Going by how it looks in the metal versus photos, it's got this great mini Fortuner Legender feel thanks to the shape of the lights and squared off bumpers front and rear. It all comes together to make the Hyryder appear larger and wider than some of its rivals. This thing is actually the longest SUV in the segment, barring the forgotten Nissan Kicks. This hybrid model has a few external differentiators over the non-hybrid models, including the nicely executed carbon fiber finish grille panel up front. The polished split-spoke snowflake 17-inch wheels look absolutely brilliant too, especially on the go. Now, the cabin of the Hyryder might feel overly familiar if you're familiar with Maruti Suzuki or recent Toyota cars that have the shared platform like the new Baleno, Glanza, and Brezza and Urban Cruiser. For example, though the steering wheel looks identical to what's on the new Brezza, it's not flat-bottomed and has different mounted controls. Moving on, there's a smattering of soft touch surfaces around the cabin, and that really makes it feel premium. But there is one small thing that we're going to nitpick about, and that's the fact that the steering wheel feels a little too far inboard, so it almost feels off-center. The features list has everything you expect in a car nowadays, like wireless smartphone integration, wireless charging, ventilated seats, auto-dimming IRVM, connected tech, and much more. What's missing are rain-sensing wipers, and only the top-end non-hybrid models get the Archimedes branded audio. The driver's seat's set for my height of 5'10.5", and I've got plenty of knee room down here. I wish I had a little more under-thigh support, and considering I've just got a couple of fingers of headroom, I think passengers taller than maybe 6 foot might find their head brushing against the roof. Of course, you can slouch down in the seat a bit. The angle of recline on these seats is adjustable, but keep in mind that that was the most relaxed setting, and this is the second setting, which I find far too upright. In fact, even at its more relaxed position, I wish it went back just a little further, but that isn't as big an issue as this excess of lumbar support that I seem to feel. I think it might settle down once the car actually breaks in and gets a little older. Keep in mind, these are brand new cars with less than 100 kilometers on the clock. But it's a comfortable place to be, and it's accentuated by that absolutely massive panoramic sunroof with the twin panes that actually retract all the way. The middle passenger has their own adjustable headrest. There is a fold-out armrest, and that middle passenger also has their own 3-point seat belt. Twin AC vents, USB Type-C charge port, and a regular USB charge port complete out the list of features back here. Toyota doesn't have a number for the boot capacity yet, but space is limited by the battery pack that's mounted behind the 60-40 split rear seats. The boot is wide, but stacking luggage will foul with the parcel tray. If you've got an airport run or a long trip with a load of luggage, consider leaving the parcel tray at home. As we know, the Hyryder gets two 1.5-litre petrol powertrains. Neo-drive variants have the Maruti Suzuki K15 4-cylinder engine with a 5-speed manual available in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, or a 6-speed automatic front-wheel drive variant. Now the variant that we are most interested in is the hybrid, and that's actually the one that we're getting to drive today. It's powered by a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine, naturally aspirated, running the Atkinson cycle. It puts out 92 PS of power and 122 Newton meters of torque. Now there is that electric motor / generator helping it out, and the motor puts out 80 PS on its own and 144 Newton meters of torque. Together, you've got a combined 116 PS of power. Toyota's self-charging hybrid or series parallel hybrid, aka strong hybrid tech, debuted in the Prius over 2 decades ago and is in its 4th generation now with a new lithium-ion battery and variable valve timing on the ICE for better thermal efficiency and performance. Now the hybrid system works a little differently than the hybrid system you may or may not be familiar with in the Honda City Hybrid. The electric motor has a generator that starts the ICE engine up to warm it up on cold starts and actually heat up the catalytic converter to keep those emissions in check, which also means that on cold starts you will hear the engine fire up to kind of charge up those batteries if the charge is low. Versus the hybrid tech in the Honda City e-HEV, for example, in the Hyryder Hybrid, the engine drives the front wheels directly via stepless eCVT, often also charging the battery at the same time. An EV-only mode allows for pure electric driving under speeds of 40 km per hour and at low throttle openings if there's enough charge in the low-capacity 0.76 kWh battery. EV-only range is not a figure that Toyota discloses because there's just so many variables. It does have an EV mode button which forces it into electric-only mode, but the system figures out what's best for it in keeping the battery between 40 to 60%. What that means is for about 60% of the time that you're driving around in the city, the Hyryder will be driving around on electric power only. In the driving conditions that we expect most people to actually use the Hyryder most of the time, it feels perfectly seamless and there definitely always is enough on tap to get you going. While we didn't get a chance to test the efficiency, the instrumentation did display numbers as high as 23 km per litre with a mix of urban highway driving. Now the ride quality of the Hyryder is something that I have to say surprised me quite a bit. It does feel very well damped. So even over bad roads you don't really get those bumps filtering through with the jolt. It does feel like it's soaking up quite a bit. That does mean that there is body roll, but again it's very well controlled. The Hyryder also handles more than adequately well. It is a front-wheel drive car, so you do feel the front end start to push a little bit when you try and carry too much speed into a corner. But it does go into a nice sort of understeery slide, which you can correct very, very naturally. It looks like the Hyryder does a good job of packaging the practicality that people like in SUVs with what most of us like in any case, and that's efficiency. This is one hybrid that might not need you to give up too much for that extra efficiency and lower emissions. We expect pricing on the Hyryder Hybrid to be very competitive against the diesel automatic variants of its chief rivals. That should put it in the Rs 18.5 lakh range ex-showroom. If that's the case, the Hyryder may be Toyota's next Fortuner in dominating the segment, and not just in the way it looks.
Well, do head into our YouTube channel and in the comment section, do let us know that if you weren't bound by a body style, which hybrid would you choose in India today? Would it be the Honda City Hybrid or would it be the Toyota Hyryder Hybrid? We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll acquaint you with the upcoming Hyundai Creta.